You're very prompt.
Yeah.
What is up, everybody? I think we're live. It's 8:45 p.m. here on Saturday night, May 28th. It is Memorial Day weekend. So hope everybody is either having or looking forward to having a nice long holiday weekend. Welcome back to Hook Sets Are Free. We've got Matt, aka South Jersey Fisherman, in here. Of course, last time he labeled his name Matt. I labeled myself Hook Sets Are Free. We did the opposite this time. It's all good. So hope everybody's doing well. We got Fishing the Southeast and Daniel T already in here. What's up, guys? Hope you guys are having a good night. I appreciate Matt being willing to do this on this channel. I didn't have a preference, but to Matt's point, theoretically, there will be a few more people that are in this live stream and that end up seeing this video, at least in the next couple days. So while we're here in the first minute, let me just say, whether you're watching live right now or on the replay, please do both of us a favor and go over to Matt's channel, which I will have linked in the description after this video is done and posted. But his channel is South Jersey Fisherman 028, no spaces. If you're actually searching it like that, you won't have any issue finding it. So go over to his channel, hit that subscribe button, and help his channel grow. He's I think just got 3 or so videos on there right now, sitting at 50 subscribers. Any and all growth is always appreciated. So please do Matt that solid. I don't know if you guys are drinking right now, but I am going to classic Coors Banquet as somewhat usual for me. We got John Smith, Ronald Rockamore, Abe, and Losing Big Fish. Chris, what's up, dudes? How are you guys doing tonight? I appreciate you guys all hopping in the comments so quickly. I've got to get used to this split screen. You know, I keep leaning over this way, but it does split us in half. So we can talk a little bit about the Memorial Day sales, at least at some point. Doesn't need to be right this second, but you know, there are pretty decent sales going on at the Hookup Tackle, which is a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight, and at Tackle Warehouse. Most retailers, to be honest, even Discount Tackle, but it's not going to be quite as pronounced at Discount Tackle, you know, just because they're running sales all the time. I don't know that anything is like way more discounted than it ordinarily would be. You know, they've got it advertised that certain brands are a good deal, and they are. You know, if you're looking to buy some Berkeley Maxent stuff or things like that, then you should definitely go there. But the Hookup Tackle and Tackle Warehouse are definitely places to do that. If those are places that you ordinarily shop, you might as well take advantage, because I think you can save 15% on almost everything. And so right there, it justifies.
Even the Hookup had some, you know, discount as well.
What is?
The Hookup Tackle even had some.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's 15% off of pretty much everything at the Hookup.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool.
That's where you're gonna find the best deals on JDM stuff. I think it's more likely that Tackle Warehouse is going to be subject to MAP pricing. Not everything is going to be 15% off, where I think at the Hookup, it's pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So if you are looking to get some JDM stuff, do yourself a favor and shop at the Hookup. Otherwise, if you're looking for a combination of JDM and more mainstream stuff, or just more mainstream stuff, you better get on that sooner than later, because I've noticed that certain things are kind of flying off the shelves, at least early on in the sale. So I don't know if things are going to come back in stock, but you know, one trick that I've used before with Tackle Warehouse during like Black Friday sales, something that you can do is purchase back ordered stuff, and you'll get that discounted price, but of course you'll have to wait for it. So still something to keep in mind. Fishing the Southeast says 15% off. Already bought some stuff I don't need. That's funny. Yeah, that it's funny that sales tend to do that to us, right? It's like I just bought a couple packages like a week or two ago, and of course I'm browsing. I definitely don't need stuff, but when the deals are good and you factor it in, you find a way to justify it, right?
Added some added
15%
some.
off, it's like I'm getting 1 or 2 baits for free.
Yeah,
You might as well.
yeah, pretty much. That's like what you're gonna be saving, mattering on like how much you spend, and that's why when I saw the Hookup had it, I was like, I started adding a couple stuff, and I was like,
Right.
oh my god, it's like I just got stuff last week. What the hell did I
Right,
need?
exactly. So you're going to show us some stuff that you recently got, but
Yeah,
this is not from the sale. You're
nah,
probably not going to be able to help yourself, or you're going to make another purchase from the Hookup. So tell us
yeah.
real quick, what percentage of the time are you shopping at the Hookup versus other online retailers? Because I know you do shop at a couple of other JDM specific websites that you've mentioned before, but I know that you've also shopped at Tackle Warehouse. Where do you tend to shop? How does that?
I mainly shop at the Hookup, and mainly reason why is because, like I said, I've just dealt with them for a while now, a couple
Yeah.
years actually, and then like I said, they just always been good with me. They ship, like I said, super quick, mattering on like what time you order,
Yeah.
and then also, like I said, I've also noticed that their prices have stayed pretty consistent on the lower side. And when it comes to the JDM stuff, some websites like Tackle Warehouse and Carolina Tackle, they also have a little bit higher pricing. And I'm not sure if it's just because they've been in the game for, almost 15, 20 years, that they've been able to, sell their stuff at that price, or maybe I'm not sure if they have like a sales tax thing over there, but
Yeah, I've wondered the same thing, and I've noticed that about a few baits in particular. I forget
yeah,
which ones I mentioned recently. Maybe it was the Lucky Craft BDS series, or uh, I've noticed a few baits in particular that Tackle Warehouse has like 20% higher than
yeah,
Hookup, and I'm like, what? I don't know if Tackle Warehouse and Carolina Fishing Tackle are just like not in the know, or if they're just doing like standard markup pricing,
maybe that's what I
or
was thinking.
or if the Hookup can somehow get slightly better deals, or are willing to deal with slightly lower margins on some products. But
Yeah,
you're absolutely right about that, and for that reason, plus just I like the guys. I love their selection.
yeah,
The passion that they have shows through a lot more, and it helps that they've got a good social media presence that you can actually get to know the guys who are running the shop. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but I agree that the Hookup is
yeah.
an awesome
That's
shop.
what, like I said, that's why, they got me sold, because, when I had stuff that got messed up, I actually had something recently, actually, where I kind of fixed it, and it's actually in part of this, they put it in this package here that I got. What I did was I took the whole both packages I got in the past 2 weeks, and just put them in one, but just to make it easier. But like I said, this one here, it was this little BioVex bait was
Oh, cool.
cracked, and
Oh shit.
yeah, and it had this little crack on it. So I fixed it with some baking soda. It had actually on both sides. But what's weird was that the packaging didn't have any sort of, crush. It wasn't crushed at all. Like, this is the packaging here, and it looks like perfectly fine.
Weird.
So, and it wasn't crushed, but then it was like something smashed it. And so I
Right.
was like, oh, I just messaged them saying, hey, I smashed somehow the bait that I got was a little bit cracked. I had just noticed it when I was about to go fishing, because this was the one I had snagged up at my local spot when I was trying to get another bait out, which was the epic shad that I had lost, the epic
Right.
Eric crank. And I had got it so I thought it was just going to come out, because it looked like the line, it was floating on top of the water somehow, because it was very buoyant, that bait, so it somehow floated. So then I was like, well, how the hell is it stuck? And I think what happened was the line got wedged into some sort of wood or something, and the bait just was floating. So when I would pull the bait would sink back down and somehow go down. And I was like, what the hell is going on? So I was like, you know what? If I could just go and grab the bait and pull it and, just let some line out, it would come back to me. Dude, it wasn't doing that. Every time I was pulling on the bait, it would go back down. And I'm like, what is going on here? So that's how I got this whole ordeal where I ended up throwing my elude rat and, thought that would work because it had like 25-pound line.
Right.
And I was just trying to break the other line because it was like, I think like 16 or 17 pound. And I just started pulling on it, trying to break it, and it was not breaking. And then all of a sudden my damn zombie clip bent on the zombie rat. My split snap bent, and I was like, what is going on? And all of a sudden, as I'm pulling, the rat just slips out of the line, and I'm like, the line comes out, and I'm like,
no.
And I'm like, no. And then there's current here that's right there, dude. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's like, and I'm in the middle of like a resting pool here, and there's two currents that are just coming out on the side.
Right.
So I'm like, dude, I got to get this out of there quick before this thing floats away.
Yeah, two baits out there now.
Dude, I went and grabbed this big ass log, dude. It was like 100 pounds, this damn log, and I'm just holding it as far as I could. I had to wait till the tide went down a little bit, and it wasn't moving. It got stuck. So I was like, God, you know what? I'll wait about like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and the tide was going out quick. And like I said, I waited, and then I came with this log, and I just grabbed the hook on the damn zombie rat and pulled that thing. I was like, dude, I don't give a fuck about that damn epic shad. I was like, I'm getting this rat back.
Right.
And I was like, no way. And so, and I ended up pulling it, and it popped the damn elude out, and then all of a sudden the epic shad starts floating away.
Really?
And I'm like, oh. So I try to grab it, and all of a sudden it just grabs it, and then it pulls it back down again and disappears.
What?
I was like, what the hell? I was like, how is it still stuck to something?
Right.
And then, like I said, it just disappeared, and it started floating away. Like, I don't even know where it went. And
that's super weird.
Yeah,
and
it was very weird.
Rather unfortunate, that a day of fishing for fish turned into fishing for lures.
Yeah, man.
I've definitely had that happen a number of times, but not like nearly to that extent, where I'm spending a long time and I'm freaking out about getting really expensive lures back. Usually when it happens to me, it's usually close enough to the bank that I'll be able to switch out a few lures if the first one's not working, and manage to get something with big enough trebles or with just that right action where I can grab the bait. But I've only lost a couple of baits, never like that, where it's like snagged but not snagged at the same time. That
dude, it was the weirdest thing ever. I was like, how the hell did this happen? And then, like I said, I lost so many baits that day. I lost like $100 in some baits, man. I was
That's
pissed.
brutal.
And it was in a spot that I usually fish a lot. Like, I know it like the back of my hand. And then all of a sudden I'm like throwing my cranks, and all of a sudden they're just getting snagged. I'm like, what is out there? And every time I would pull it, it would like start coming out, and I was like, oh, that's somebody's line.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, who is throwing all this line in here and snagging everything? And I think I had actually pulled out about like 2 or 3 of those snags out. Finally, I got my Evoke bag actually that got snagged. And
from a different time or from that day?
No, different time. I somehow got it back. But
that's amazing.
But dude, listen to this.
What?
It ended up fucking cracking, man.
Oh no. I for a second was gonna say interesting.
I could steal it back up.
Evoke?
Yeah, it ended up making it like rattle from it cracking a little bit, and I think it just opened it up enough to where that weight got loose.
Right.
And it literally ended up making it rattle.
So does it take on water now, or is it just a crack inside the bait?
No, it's a crack on the outside. I can probably seal it back up pretty easily, but it's right there, like.
And it's that color, huh?
Yep, the rainbow. And this one is beat up, like.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that back attitude.
And the lip is just grinded.
Yep.
So, and like I said, that's where I really just use these at, pretty much.
Man. Well, pretty cool that you got it back, but unfortunate that it was.
Yeah, I was like, it can just be like a story piece, prove like that it's a good bait because it has tons of rash on it.
Right.
And that one I had since last year, so that one's lasted a while. But
Tom, what's up? Adam, what's up?
Tom?
Looks like the Fishing the Southeast says you bought a G Loomis he didn't need. That's hilarious. Daniel, yeah, I agree. If you're looking for anything Strike King or Berkeley, check Discount Tackle. They don't have the gilly in stock, but you don't really need that. I've been fishing. I tried fishing the gilly. I only have it in the 90 size in the black and blue color, so not necessarily ideal, but I don't know. The fish haven't been loving it. I'll just say that. Not exactly sure. And I tried rigging it a few different ways. But I'm not all that excited about it, and I'm not eager to pick up a bunch more.
I think it has its place. I think it's just the only bad thing it has behind it is that obviously people know that it was like a copy or anything like that. But besides from that, I think it will work in like certain situations. But it's just like the Icy Gilly said. That bait, I really don't catch that many fish on it. And to be honest, it's more of like a situational bait. Like if you maybe see some fish hitting some bluegill or feeding on bluegill on the outside of beds or something,
right?
Maybe
you got to be in high percentage areas, or potentially, I could see it working on a drop shot if you nose hooked it.
Yeah, because that is almost like similar to if you do it in the drop shot, it almost is like that Big Bites bait. It's like the warmouth, I think it's what it's called.
Okay, yeah.
And that, or it's a zoom bait. I'm not sure it's one of those two, but I'm pretty sure. And Greg Blanchard does that exact thing with it and drop shots it on beds.
Yeah,
it works and it catches good fish. But like I said, could you just use something else and catch that same exact fish, or
Well, yeah, I've been having way more success on less exciting baits. A whole lot of Ned rig and jig fish recently.
Same.
I caught a nice
for me. It's like jigs and
4-pounder the other day on a finesse football jig with a 2.8 bellows gill rigged as the trailer. Skip that thing way back under a dock, and on like the third flip, dude wolfed it, and that felt pretty damn good because it was a dock that like was super crowded that day, so I avoided it and fished for like 2 hours before that, and then as I was about to leave, I was like, I at least just want to see what I can see from the dock. But there were like 8 people on the dock, so I couldn't like go fish from the dock. Yeah. So as I like poke around, I can see people are like, "What are you doing?" And so then I'm on like the walkway that goes out to the dock, and everybody was like, fan casting from the edge of the dock. So I just make a couple dips and flips under, and this all of a sudden the people are like super jealous because I'm fighting this hog that
was right underneath him.
Yeah, he was pulling line pretty good, and let's see if you can't see it all that well, but got that gilly or that bellows gill.
Yeah,
had the trailer on that. That was pretty cool.
And that was you said on a Ned?
No, finesse football jig.
Oh, finesse football jig.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I had been fishing it.
I didn't know that you
in
could
different scenarios. Like I didn't rig that up for that situation. I had rigged it up to fish because that lake, I'll go 2 different routes. I'll go along the bank where there's a whole bunch of like coves, and last year I had a lot of success finding bedding fish right around this time of year, but I think I'm like a week or 2 early right now. But they had just stocked trout in this lake like a week ago. And so I was like, I'll be able to find trout over on that side, even if fish aren't bedding. And it turned out that it was like super like slimy. The grass has grown up a lot. It's like young grass.
Yeah, it's like
really slimy,
little green slime,
and it was really hard to get anything through there clean. So I'm throwing like weightless presentations in there mostly. So the jig was just picking up a whole bunch of this goo. And
I want to try those scats.
So I just ignored it. Yeah, I had some of the cover scats only in the 2.8-inch size because I fish for smallmouth there more than anything, but they tend to be on the other side of the lake along the riprap bank. So I went looking for trout and for bedding largemouth on the other side. Didn't really find much there, and then immediately go over to the riprap bank side and can see fish, but they're not locked on beds by any means. And there were too many people out that day. That's like where I got the sunburn that I have. Like my forehead is just wrecked. This was like 3 or 4 days ago. And
snowing last week.
So yeah, exactly. And then here we are, 80 degrees, and the sun is brutal. So yeah, I don't mind it. But the fish are definitely like acting a little bit weird. And so I only caught 3 fish that day. 2 of which were on beds, but were hard to see because there was just enough wind to where there was just a glare to where I knew where the bed was, but I couldn't see exactly when a fish was picking up the bait. So here I am throwing like a pink Savage Gear, the salamander, so that I could see it. And then the only other like super visible bait that I had was like a white Senko style bait, the Strike King Zero. And both of those worked fine. I had the same fish eat that pink salamander. Actually, it was a totally chartreuse salamander. The pink ones are sitting right here in front of me. Just totally chartreuse. Same fish ate it 3 times in like 15 minutes. And the bait fuel might have had a part in that. Although I had a very mixed experience with the bait fuel. So I cannot say in any sort of conclusive way whether
you got to give it probably a couple.
It's gonna be like I got to give it the summer, really. I'm not just gonna try it 1 or 2 times and say, oh, this shit is the deal, because it could easily just be the fish's mood that day.
Exactly.
Right? And I've been having great success using the stuff that I had marinated in the Procure. Specifically the Z-Man Finesse Shads have been freaking getting it done for me on both a Ned rig and a drop shot. It's a different profile bait. That's a 4-inch long but super slender profile. I don't know if you guys are super familiar with this bait, but it is.
I have those actually. Yeah.
It is really, really good. And I've been throwing it just like
a spinner baits.
Yeah, no, it makes a good trailer on a spinnerbait and a chatterbait as well. It's a really thin body, and it's even got a belly slit. So it's really best for like drop shotting on a cover shot style hook because you've got that belly slot. But really, it's only half of this body, which is thin in itself, that has meat to it. So you can't thread a hook on this very well, especially a meaty hook like you'd get on a spinnerbait or chatterbait. But I've been rigging this thing on a Ned rig, and it's got a ton of action. So specifically in a watermelon red color, I don't know if it's that color or if it's the Procure, but it's been making the thing like glow. I mean, it's crazy, and the fish have been eating it really well. But let me try and catch up on these comments real quick, and then we'll move on to talking about what Matt has picked up recently. So I'm way behind on comments, but Adam says he got Tatula LT spinning reel for $132 after discounts. That is good, because I think that reel is like $200 or $220. I don't know what it is, but that's a good deal for sure. And yeah, customer service at the Hookup is top notch.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Daniel was joking, saying that maybe somebody at the post office was fishing your bait before you got it, and that's why it was cracked. Dude, I am way behind. Holy shit!
But yeah, like they sent me a brand new one of those, and I think that that's really the best part is really that they send baits to you pretty much if as long as you tell them that send them a couple pictures or maybe even not even that, because I didn't do that with this, and I've had plenty of interactions where I had baits get messed up or something like that, where show messed up and or something was wrong with the order, and they literally say, hey, just keep it and we'll send you the one you actually supposed to get or whatever. And I'm like, are you sure you want me to send it back? Because I can. And they're like, oh no, it's fine, it's better, just keep it. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, most people would be like, no, you need to send that back.
Yep.
So
yeah, Tom, I don't know that a golf ball retriever would do the trick in most situations, especially the one where that epic shad was still snagged, right? If you've got a lure that's totally broken off and floats back up and is just loose, that might work. Not a bad suggestion, but
yeah,
solve the problem that was having. Tim Maynard says, "What's up, Matt?"
What up, Tim?
Guggen Slayer says he smashed a fish took his Varuna SP, Spawn Cherry 110 on the rocks. That's brutal.
Dude, that's actually I think that's the color. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the color I got.
Nice. Rich in the house. What's up, dude? Matt's gonna show us some goodies from the Hookup tackle in 1 second. Once I just rifle through your guys' comments, and I apologize for going off on a tangent about some of my fishing the other day. Sorry about that, guys. So Abe, I had addressed the bait fuel, right? I had mixed results with it. When I first started using it, it seemed like the fish didn't notice or care. When I got near some bedding fish, it seemed to matter kind of right away. And that's after I had used a different bait or two that did not have the bait fuel on it. And then I threw a new bait that had bait fuel on it. So was it the new bait or was it the bait fuel? Don't know. But regardless, there'll need to be some significant time that goes into figuring out whether it's the deal or not. Gilly in the 120 size is killer. You like it more than the gill flat.
Dude, these baits.
It's more readily available, better color, scent, and durability. Interesting. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree that it is more readily available. Some of the colors are definitely better with those HD colors that Berkley makes. Powerbait scent is legit, and I bet you the plastic is a little bit more durable because of the slightly lower salt content that tends to be more common in regular Berkley Powerbait lures as opposed to most JDM soft plastic. So all good points for sure.
Yeah, the only good thing I really about like I said, the icy gill set is they have like I said, a rig built into them, so or a harness really, and it's inside like the nose. So there's like a little tiny like wire that goes in there. So pretty much
you don't have to use a CPS spring.
No, the ones that are big they come with already a rigged, and then the ones that are small, which are these small guys.
Yeah.
Those ones you definitely have.
Those are like 80 millimeters, right?
I don't. It doesn't say on the package, but
I mean, I was looking at them on the Hookup. I'm fairly confident that that's what they are because those are in stock at the Hookup right now. I was tempted to get some.
They're about like
about like yay big.
Yeah, about an inch smaller.
Right. I mean, that looks like it's just 3.5. pretty small bait.
Or like I said, it's actually pretty strong. That little wire that's in there, it pulls on the wire, which is actually attached to this little keel weight on the bottom.
Oh, interesting. So
And
does that weight automatically come in it, or do you put that in like
no,
it's a nail weight or something?
no, that comes with it. It's already pre-rigged. And this
Interesting.
one, see, like the other one is still doesn't even have the eyes on it yet, and this is how they come.
Yeah, did I see a pack of eyes in the package?
Yeah, you put them on yourself.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and like I said, and then also has a little air chamber in the top,
Yeah, the Gilly does too.
so you can put the little foam in and adjust the sink rate.
Yeah.
So, and it comes with the foam as well, which is these little tiny thing right here, and then you can literally cut it to any size you want.
Interesting. So
And
once you jam the foam up in there, it's going to make it more buoyant.
Yeah. Oh, when it comes in the package, it's not buoyant. It sinks.
Oh yeah.
It'll go into the bottom pretty like a slow sink, and then that's why I put on this one. I put a nail sinker on the belly to get it down a little quicker, so that it will get down there a little faster. So when you go on a slow retrieve, it'll just swim, real nice, and you don't have to go too.
Yeah,
you can go
because I heard people talking about rigging the Gilly on a keel weighted swim bait hook. You're not going to want to do that.
Nah.
Because if you're using like an owner beast hook, the thing's not going to swim sideways. It will swim
pretty
like
much
this, right?
like
it's not going to go and swim like you want it to.
Yeah.
It's going to swim sideways. Dang it. My daughter is awake. I'm gonna allow you to be the one right now, if I can. Golly, she's hollering.
Nah, you're good.
How can I just make you the one? No.
You're good. Just go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll be back.
Yeah. Nah, you're good. Yeah, it is kind of like I said, Guggen. That brand, they're kind of like where you kind of have to modify baits and pretty much mess with them, tinker them. They're not just like right out the package the best, bait to use, and still not the best really, because like I said, I really haven't caught many fish off of them, only like a couple. But it's a pretty smart design, which is pretty cool. And then this is the one I actually had got a new color of this, but this is that color that I've been actually catching a lot of fish at the Delaware with. And it's a spawn killer. It's a sick color, and I really don't like red that much, but I had this in my box and I decided to end up using it and ended up grinding rocks with it, and it literally got chewed up. And this was the bait that I ended up losing that big fish on and hooked myself in the neck with. So, but it's a pretty good bait on the rocks. It will go back and forth literally on the rocks, and I thought it was just like an open water crank, but then seeing that it was actually meant for rocks, so seemed like a pretty good bait.
My bad, dudes.
Nah, you're good.
I think we're just gonna kind of skip the comments that we missed. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. You guys are saying this salamander from Savage Gear is good. Beef felt fishing, what's up, dude? Frank, you didn't miss it. You're in here. Good luck pike fishing tomorrow, dude. Bruce Nichols in the house. What up, doggy? Pro tip for the Gilly: put a nice piece of foam from a pool noodle sideways. Yeah, Matt's one step ahead. And yeah, I guess that comes straight from the gill flat. mean, what about that bait doesn't come from the gill flat, if we're being honest?
Yeah.
You don't have to hate on it because of that, but it's just a reality. Like, same could be said of this bait, which I really should have taken out and used it.
Pretty much alteration.
This would have been wicked on those beds the other day, right? Now, I couldn't have thrown it weightless, right? That's the other thing that I'm going to have to get used to using.
But on that jig, it probably would have worked pretty good.
Is like, I've noticed that with throwing the bellows gill, that it does best weightless by a long shot, whereas this thing can't be thrown weightless, otherwise it'll just sit on top of the water.
Yeah.
All right. So were you just showing something, or were you responding to any comments?
No, I was just showing the bait that pretty much I've been catching a lot of fish on that I ended up hooking myself in the neck with.
Oh, shit.
But this one here.
Is that the Z1, or what is that?
Yeah, this is the Z1.
That's smaller than I would have thought it is. I like that.
Yeah, it is pretty small. It's not a big bait at all. And like I said, it's definitely gets crushed on the rocks. Like I was just grinding it, and I didn't really notice that or know that. Like I said, I was telling them that I pretty much had it in my box for a while, and I just left it off. And also, it was in a color that I didn't have the much confidence in because I'm really not that big believer in red. But then after I was like, you know what, let me see this and see if red really is going to work right now. And it was, the water was like 58, 60 degrees.
Right.
And I've been using this, and like I said, grinding it on the rocks, it would literally, it hunts very well on the rocks. It just goes back and forth and then wants to come back to center. And it just skips right over them. And literally it creates a nice little mud trail. And that was really—
How deep does that thing run?
This one, well, I actually had, that's what I actually got in my box from the Hookup, and pretty much got another one just in case I lose it.
Same color.
And then like I think it's a Kasumi Ito, and that's a good color, but it's 2.3 meters it goes, which is about like
6-7.
Yeah, 6-7. But I'm pretty much fishing on like 17-pound line, and I've been getting it around 4 or 5 feet, and it stays down pretty good too, and it's slowly floats. It doesn't go too fast, so that's the thing I think what's really been helping it, because I noticed that if I use too fast of a bait or a crankbait that's been floating up too fast, it's not getting bit. And the ones that are getting bit are the ones that are kind of like staying down there a little bit longer and hitting those rocks a little bit. So, and in this spot really specifically, that's how most of the time you catch the fish there, is by doing that. And that just seems to work. But with this bait, it's been working really well, almost like to the point of the evoke. And that's what really surprised me was, you know, I was actually using that more than my evoke.
Right.
It was actually working.
Tim, it says 2.3 meters. So, you know, roughly 7, right? Fishing the Southeast, yes, you did. I know that you were probably just observing the background. This is the 7-inch spark shad. I talk about this bait somewhat frequently. Some people talk about how they think it's been replaced by the mag draft. I don't think so. You know, there's a lot of similarities in like body shape, but the tail is completely different. This bait should not have been discontinued at all. You can find them if you look hard enough, but they're not available everywhere.
And that's that Kasumi Ito color.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a nice color, and it has like a solid back. So
nice.
And I've caught my PB on this like almost exact color, but in jerkbait. So
interesting.
The Ito Shiner.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I actually brought that bait with me the other day, so it's up in my box. I am planning to fish it very soon now that the water is kind of like prime.
Yeah.
For me to be able to fish that bait over a lot of other jerk
definitely
baits.
Try it and let me know.
Because I think working a jerk bait faster, something that's a little bit more aggressive, is going to be the deal for me over the next week or two. So.
And then pretty much I got another one, like I said, this was the replacement they sent pretty much for me, and which was pretty cool. And like I said, they ended up just putting it in there because they knew I'd probably order again. So they were like, "Oh, are you gonna order anytime soon?" And I was like, maybe next week." And then I was like, and then I ended up 3 or 4 days went by, and I was like, "Oh, did you guys send that out?" And they were like, "Oh, we ended up putting it in your order today." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And so I was like, "Well, I guess it ended up working out." And you didn't have to send 2 times, so it was kind of funny. But and then I'll show you the other 2 mega bass baits that I got. These are from the recent Respect series colors that just came out, the SG Hot Shad. And this one I got in the little Koyu slide sinker.
Yeah. Now, how's the Koyu slide sinker different than the Dog X?
So this one here is obviously smaller, but not just that, but it pretty much is a sinking walking bait. So it can be used to subsurface or like as a twitching bait, or pretty much like a small glider or like a jerk bait.
But do they call it the Koyu because it's the same profile as the other one?
It's the same as pretty much like the profiles at Dog X, but in a smaller version, and pretty much I think that it just sinks.
Because they make the Dog X Junior Koyu, right?
Yeah.
That's a standard walking bait, and the one you're holding now is a sinking walking bait.
Yeah, sinker.
Now, when and why would you throw a sinking walking bait? Right.
The only reason why I had got this was because usually with most small walking baits, in my opinion, that when they're small, it's kind of a little bit tougher to get them to walk.
True.
At a faster speed.
I would agree.
So by having a little bit more weight, you could work this a little bit faster and have that actually walk a little bit better, and it does. That's what I do with it. But I ended up also where you can use it near like a little bit of current, and you can sink it, let it sink a little bit, and then as it's sinking, you just start twitching it, and it starts to rise up to the water. And at that time you get to the top, it almost looks like a minnow jumping out of the water, and then it starts walking. So you will pretty much stay down here and then end up going up and up and up, and then all of a sudden it just bursts out of the water, and then it'll just start walking.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a pretty.
Now, would you ever intentionally kill it?
Yeah, that's what I do. I'll walk it and let it kill it, and then let it sink back down, and then walk it again, pretty much back up. So a little bit.
I have to imagine.
And then
there would be some fish that would eat it on that fall, right?
That's where I've actually got most of the bites. It's not on top. It's as I let it pause and then let it sink, and then that's when I would get the hits. So
it's interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't really a full topwater bait.
Yeah, I mean that's a category that like really doesn't quite exist, right? Is a walking bait that is weighted to the point where it will sink when dead sticked.
And it's a pretty heavy little bait. Like you would think that it's not, going to be heavy, but it weighs. I think it's like over a quarter. No, it is a quarter exact, but that's a pretty good amount for this tiny of a bait.
Right.
And it casts pretty good. And I'm not sure if it's just because it's like aerodynamic or where the weight is placed, but it goes out pretty far. And I can get it. I actually use pretty much my crankbait rod because it's so light.
Show us that color pattern again up quick.
This one is the SG Hot Shad.
It in some ways reminds me of this one from Evergreen.
And it reminds me of also like a depths color. I forget what it is they have, but it's like sort of the same as well. But it's a nice color.
It's more of like a true transparent, and then like it doesn't have as much flash or sparkle in it, right? Like this guy is absurd in how much
it doesn't have that
flashes, how much like
that's nice,
they put in it. That one is more truly transparent, right?
Yeah, this one actually goes like in transparent, then has like a pearl outside coating that pretty much shines, but it has like an opaque pretty much color to it, to where like it still has a little bit of solidness on the bottom, and allows that to still have like somewhat of a presence if it's actually on top and the water's somewhat clear. And so that's what I pretty much got. But since it still has that chartreuse color, it could probably be used in like the tinted to like, you know, what's it called? I forget the damn word.
You're not thinking stained. You're thinking.
It's not stained.
I know what you're thinking, but it's not coming to me either.
I don't know why. I just forgot.
But usually when I see color patterns like that, right, I tend to think that the fish aren't really seeing the chartreuse, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's like,
even
to see.
like they're really not seeing it. It's more for us
Yeah.
that, especially in lower light conditions, that we'll be able to see that bait from a lot farther away.
Yeah.
And know exactly when it disappears. So
that's true.
I've
That
kind of the opposite as a bait that has all that chartreuse on the belly, which is naturally going to be better in dirty water or perhaps around bluegill, things like that. But interesting. People are actually flying in these comments a little bit right now. Tannic water. Damn it. Yeah, dude. That's what we were thinking. Appreciate you guys. Should give a little prize out for that. So Guggen Slayer said he wants the eye waver. Isn't that wild bait that has just like a subtle to like no action type of bait?
I'm trying to think of it. I can't even think of it. Eye waver. I think
it's just got like some like rubber tail type of deal. And
I think that's eye break. I thought.
No, the eye waver, it's an OSP bait. I remember them talking about it when
wait, the eye.
Yeah. They did a whole episode on like baits with like dead action.
So it's like an eye bait. It's an eye style bait.
Yeah, but there's no prop or anything, right? Like it's pretty much just a straight shooter. Just a dead action, has like a little bit of like.
So it's like pretty much like the depths bait.
Yeah, it's definitely like a more of a Japanese thing. Like I don't really quite understand it.
Like this.
Yeah, it's exactly like that, dude.
Yeah.
Now, why? I mean, sure, there's got to be situations, you know, highly pressured fish, really clear water situations,
or small. You know, if they're eating really small bait fish.
Yeah.
You know, and it comes with a little swivel. The hook is definitely a lot stronger than you would think. This little damn hook. It's so small, but it's strong, man. I got it snagged in something and like pulled it and it didn't bend out. It was weird. It actually like broke the little stick, and I was like, "What the hell?" But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Right.
I think it just has the joint in the middle.
Right. Yeah, this one looks like it has a joint.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they all do. Like I was just looking for. Whoop. Well, that was working, even though I spelled it wrong. So maybe they all do have the joint, the ones from OSP. Interesting. But very similar looking bait, right?
But I didn't.
Very similar.
It's a very finesse bait. You really got to have like a spinning rod to use them. For real.
He also wants the dice rubber. Now the real question is why, dude? Why do you want the dice rubber? What?
That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but it was expensive, man. I was like, whoa.
What, the dice rubber? What's that? Yeah. What's that run?
I think it's like $13, $14
for like a couple of them. Just like
5.
They're way overpriced.
Dude, it was nuts. I think check them and see. I think it's like $12, $13. It's nuts. I was like, what?
$15.
Yeah.
Dice rubber.
Freaking hell. Hell no.
What in the world?
Looks like
Look at this thing. It even has like you can see 4 on the right. Is this like an actual dice?
Maybe. Or it just has those holes like that to make it look like that.
No. Yeah, no, it is. Look, we got 5. We got 6. That's absurd.
Hell?
That's absurd.
That's nuts.
Now, how are people rigging this thing? Like a whole lot of nothing. Carolina rig.
Like, what is that going to do? That little thing.
That to me just screams bullshit. And like, I hate to say it, but
I think for smallmouth, maybe it might be pretty cool, but it's
4 in a pack.
That's what I said, man. I was like, what?
For $15.
That's like they made a bank off that right there.
Yeah, that's got to cost them very little to make. I mean, sure, the mold was probably expensive, but yeah, dude,
it's like this big.
That's
not even like a gram. Like it's like 2 grams of plastic. I don't even think it weighs a gram. It's like 0.63 of a gram or some crazy thing, or 0.63 grams.
It says it's a collector's item. Yeah, perhaps.
It could be.
I don't know if we're being
honest. I think it's really just something fun to go and fish with or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, right, but couldn't you just get creative at that point?
Yeah.
I don't even want to give it attention, but like I occasionally get on Instagram still, and I noticed One Rod One Reel posted something really annoying and controversial the other day about how Flair, if it weren't for Flair, Ben Milliken would be nothing. Something like that. It was like that meme of that dude who goes on college campuses and says like, change my mind, right?
Yeah.
Where he'll just make like a really controversial statement and then say, change my mind. And he said like Flair.
Steve Crowder, I think his name
is. Yeah, Steven Crowder. So he put Rob Turkla's face on Steven Crowder, and it said Flair made Milliken. And it says, you can't change my mind. And I was just like, holy shit. The comments went absolutely nuts, of course. Yeah. But then within a day of that or whatever, One Rod also posted a picture of some homemade lures of like some cock and balls that he found and made into a lure, and a spinner bait. Like he took the Yozuri
ball,
that rattling, and he put a pair of titties on where the blade is, and super cringy. But like, can't you get creative in just finding something random around the house and turning it into a lure if you want to actually,
like a spoon or something?
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be that realistic. If you want to be way out there, couldn't you turn a real dice into a lure,
Whoa.
Get some skirting material from a jig.
Well, maybe just find like obscure, actual fishing lures that don't look like they may work or like something, and try and use them. Like something like, hold up. Like a novelty type thing like this. Like,
right.
That would get a bunch of views, I bet, if he did something like that,
Right.
So, but
either way, that's my long-winded way of saying I don't think the dice is the deal or will be a collector's item. OSP is a great company, but as we've learned, things come and go. And I think that dice is gonna go, dude.
I think it'll last for a short period of time, and it'll fuzz out.
It's selling out. Someone was asking about the MMZ, and no, I went on to the Hookup with a couple baits in mind, and the Deca MMZ was one of them. They're sold out.
Talking about those?
Yeah, we're talking about those. A-hole. We know you got them.
And these are the other one.
So did you recently just pick up the Deca, or did you show them to us last time?
No, I got another pack. Pretty much, I got the.
Dude, you're hogging them.
Pro Blue, and then the I gotta stock up on them because they sell out in like a matter of damn hour or two. And so I just the green pumpkin and the Pro Blue. I actually like the Pro Blue more because it kind of looks like an eel, and I think that will work. So, but the green pumpkin one is, you know, regular green pumpkin, not scent, you know, but.
Daniel says he thinks the dice is a bait for catching suckers, not suckers like creek fish. Yeah. John says in Japan they've got a lure that looks like a finger.
I wouldn't doubt it. They make some crazy stuff.
It's all out there at this point.
And there's a guy who actually makes like swim baits, or they're like swim baits, but they're novelty like lures, and they're called rubbish lures. He's on Instagram, and he makes these literally. It's like, you know, like back in the day, the like cartoon characters that were like almost like what's her name, Betty Boo and all that stuff, sort of like that. Well, like that sort of like look inside of a bait, and he made like a buzz bait that had like a girl, like a cartoonish girl. It's pretty cool, and at the same time kind of crazy. But he does make actually some, I think one actual real lure that's like actually looks like a fish, but the rest is like I said, like cartoonish stuff or anime cartoons, you could say.
Well, let's pull this up and see if we could take a peek at it real quick.
It's pretty cool.
Whoop. Am I on the right page?
No, it's showing the hookup.
Damn it, I changed it.
Probably refresh it. Or like exit back out and go back in.
I guess it's because I shared the wrong screen. I'm going to stop that one. Share a new one. Now let's go check out this dude, because that sounds really interesting. And I'm kind of curious. Rubbish lure. Do y'all see that now? Can you guys see it?
Yeah, you can see it.
All right. So, yeah, anime characters in lures, huh?
Like it's pretty interesting. Like I'm like wondering how the hell he makes them. But
yeah, look at it. He's got them. He's got them all poured out. Interesting. Well, and then he makes super legit swim baits.
Yeah, I think that's his one actual like official like for swim actual.
Yeah. And it probably does fairly well.
The rest though are
these are all resin. Wow, right below all of the swim baits, he's got the lady's legs.
Yeah.
Interesting. What in the hell?
It's pretty crazy.
Ass out too. Ass out. Look at that.
And I remember there was like some back in the day, they're pretty good actually. It's like weird how like graphic they look. Like it's like they're almost like.
And that's creative. You put a spinner blade right next to the treble too. Well, that's kind of creepy looking though, right there. Shit.
The head is the knocker. It's weird.
No, really?
Yeah. The head is on a swivel. You look at it.
Oh. Man. Yeah, this guy's something else. I don't know if it's cool or if it's creepy.
Yeah, it's kind of both. It's just like, where the hell did he come up with that idea?
Yeah. I don't know.
But
it's interesting. Look, he's got some titties in this bin.
The fish one is the one that I was actually like really like.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you see this bait.
Very realistic.
Is he gonna show us what that action looks like?
Yeah, he does. It's a pretty good bait. And I was like, dude, you need to start making more of like realistic stuff.
Yeah, that looks legit. All right. Well, interesting. Sorry to go off on that tangent, but
And there's like a couple JDM guys where they make like weird baits to where they're not the same as like most baits you would see. Like I've seen baits where they're like similar to like the DRT bait, and but they're like made out of wood, and they look almost like old crankbaits, and it's pretty interesting. And there's a guy that what's his name? It's not Thrash Baits, but sewer side baits.
okay.
And he makes stuff that's like that, and I've been wanting to get a bait from him, but for so long he's just like, oh, we don't sell any baits. And then to like the US, and I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, damn, why?
You're like, but please?
And then I see other guys using them, and I'm like confused. I'm like, wait, but then how they get that? And I'm like, why are you making baits, or who are you making the baits for?
Right.
And it's weird, but I think it's just like he just probably has like maybe certain friends or people over here that he sends them to,
Sure.
and he's probably testing them out because a lot of these JDM guys, they test their baits out for a long time, and
Yeah.
it'll look like like pretty much they're selling baits, but it's not. It's they're testing them out, and they're
Sure.
pretty much only selling them to certain people that they know are like reputable swim bait fishermen, or people who they know are like been in the actual swim bait community for a while. And then that's where you see these certain guys getting these crazy baits that you're like, how the hell they get that?
Right.
And because mainly that reason, and they
Yeah, it
end up,
makes me assume that those bait makers, that must be a hobby. There's no
yeah,
way you're like making a living when you're being that picky about who's getting their hands on them. I
yeah.
mean, if you're trying to like actually make a living off of
That's like how
bait
this
making, you
one
got to be
company is.
slinging, dude.
Yeah, that's how this one company is, and I don't really understand it, but it's like they're called LFOD, and there's no like hate towards them, but like I said, they just, and a lot of people complain about the same thing. They pretty much say the same stuff that, it's like people are always asking, oh, when you can make baits? When are you making baits? And they're like, oh, we're just trying to work on making our baits better. And yeah, I get that, but then why are you showing the baits to begin with, like you are going to sell them?
Right.
And then pretty much saying, oh, this, look at this, look at this. And it's pretty much just they're hyping it up. And it's like a
Yeah.
movie where they'll show the damn trailer 2 years before, and then they end up releasing the movie 2 years later. And then you're like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
so, and it pretty much creates this anticipation for these people to do that. And that's why when they end up dropping them, they sell out in a matter of seconds.
Right.
So, and a lot of people were saying that, why don't they just do more consistent stuff? And they're just that same thing where they're just, oh, it's more of just a hobby. We're just pretty much trying to put out quality baits. But
Right.
then at the same time, they're made out of resin. So
Yeah.
really, how, it's not like you're making wood baits. And there's
Right.
guys
No,
I know
it
that
must not be
they
an
probably have
attempt at a
obviously
full-time
another
deal.
job that they're doing and stuff like that. And I understand that and stuff like that. But, just plain out say that more your baits are more of like a collector's item or something like that, not more or less like it's going to be something it can be obtained very easily.
Right.
And that's sometimes where people get misled, where like they think that, oh, this guy's getting all these crazy baits or whatever, and think that they're just buying those at, every week or every other week. And sometimes it takes people months or a year to actually get a bait from that bait maker directly. And then they're actually, ecstatic about that. And that's why some guys don't even use the baits, because they're like, damn, I spent 6 months trying to get a bait. And if I cast this damn thing off or whatever, I'm lost it. Now
Yeah.
I gotta wait another 5, 6 months to get that bait again.
Yeah,
And
that's not
it's not
cool.
really worth that. So,
Absolutely not.
and then that's why some guys sell their baits, and they'll end up, like the HPH. That's what is the most like flipped bait, really, when it comes down to the bait maker, because he'll say, "Oh, the bait will be ready in 3 or 4 months," and most guys will be like, "Beware of that." That he just says that to everybody, but it
Sure.
ends up being 6 to 8 months on average, and sometimes more, up to a year, and by the time those people got it, they kind of got that urge of like, oh my god, I got this bait, of like, that hype of where, like they say, where the same amount of rush that you get from buying these baits is the same rush you're going to get from actually catching the fish. And
Right.
that can be, addicting to people, where they'll end up wanting to get that rush where they landed that bait that no one else got. And they're like, oh my God, yes, I got that bait. And, someone else got screwed. So, and then when they get that bait and it comes in the mail and they open up that box, that's that rush they're getting from that. And it's like, oh shit, I just got something that, someone else doesn't have or has been dying to get.
Right.
And so that's like a rush from that. And they pretty much get that. And after 6 or 8 months of waiting for that to happen, that dies off. And then they're like, I'm not really as hyped anymore about this bait. So let me just get it and flip it for $300-400. And
Right.
they easily do that because those baits are that, hyped up to where.
Yeah, it seems like there's got to be a better business model, a sweet spot that's maybe like, a month, or maybe you do it like drop style, where literally you make a medium-sized batch and it's going to sell out. Like you're not making hundreds of them to dish out at one time, but somewhere in the dozens to upwards of 100 where the demand is there. And you can sell the entire batch quickly and make good money on it, and everybody's satisfied.
Yeah.
Or worst comes to worst, you tell people, these are super in demand. It'll take me anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. And no joke, it takes no more than 6 weeks. People would be willing to wait that long.
Yeah.
As long as you're not doing them dirty.
That's what that guy, the legal dope, does. That swim bait guy. That's what the guy that I was doing the live with, Mr. Bass. He pretty much did that and ordered from him, and it took like 5-6 weeks to get the baits from him, and it was pretty, forward. It wasn't like the guy was screwing him around, trying to tell him, oh, I'm a little behind. Oh, I'm missing some hardware, and then consistently saying those things, and and then sometimes they'll also some bait makers where they'll end up doing like a pre-order, and it's only a small list pre-order. It's not like 200 people, 300 people. And if you can think of that, 300 to 200 people paying from a range from $200 to $1,000, that's a lot of money off the rip. And when they're doing that, and then all of a sudden now you're waiting 6-8 months with no replies, no email, nothing. It's like they just took your money quick enough, but then now you got to wait.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a one-way sort of thing. It's like you got to deal with it pretty much.
For sure.
But like I said, it's kind of where these bigger other names that are like Piz, Stray Rats, Rafa and Matt Lors and all these other ones, they just do consistent where they just do drops every 2 months or a month, and they'll just drop, like you said, 50 to about 100 baits, and that's it. And then whoever gets them. And then that's where you get where, like I said, that rush of whoever gets them. And sometimes the 10 to 15 people out of that 100 baits are going to probably flip them. So, it just really depends. And then, like I said, that's really what I think is the most like efficient way to pretty much get somebody to be interested in your brand or your bait company or whatever it is, because you're consistently pushing out baits where unless you're waiting 6 months and, there's only, you hear someone, oh, there's a bunch of baits coming every 8 months, 6 months, instead of every 2 months where there's 100 baits, and you get more chances of obtaining that bait. So it's not as hard. So
it definitely seems like there's got to be an appropriate way to do it, and that it sounds like that dude's not doing that. Have you ever heard of this? This guy's not literally like up and running, but I met him while fishing last year. He's local here in Colorado, but I don't know that he sells a lot of stuff yet.
Union Wolf sticker, I know that.
Fishing Pox. He pretty much just has glide baits. Like these are
like Henkels.
He calls them the Syndrome. But it's a lot like that. It's a pretty fat glide bait, and he makes them as small as 6 or 7 inches and as big as 11.
Guy,
What's that?
It looks like this other guy I know that's called DK Baits. Like, look up DK Baits.
Okay, I will in a second. But this dude, like I had never seen him or met him, and he was throwing like his
Good mold.
7-inch, his 7-inch in this yellow perch pattern that he's got, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Like his paint jobs are good, right? I mean, look at that. The baby bass is legit.
Yeah, that's nice. And the mold looks pretty nice, actually.
I don't know exactly how far back this would have been because it was just last year that I met him. But yeah, this yellow perch, I was like, holy shit, dude, that looks really good. And he was just telling me he like had just gotten into it or something, and the swim looked incredible, especially on a really fast retrieve.
It looks like he might have got that done from Roe, because they look like Roe. The first where it had the blue mold. That blue mold, that's like a signature blank from Roe Innovations.
This? I don't know, dude. He's using Legos.
No. I'm talking about, go back. You'll see the blue mold. Go down. Not the actual mold itself, the master mold. There it is, right there. You just right on it. Go up a little bit.
One of these?
No, it's right there. Right there, yeah. That blue master mold right there, that's made by Roe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that has to be. Because that's how they print their molds out, is in blue.
Interesting. So he's probably not hand carving the master.
No.
He's buying the master and then creating a mold that then he can pour to create more of them.
But that's pretty much the smartest thing you can do, to be honest. If you want to make baits efficiently, that's what Piz did, and like I said, a lot of these other companies.
It looks like he's also getting other masters too, right? Like this is more of a shad profile than a trout. But yeah, he seems like a nice guy. And who's the other dude you're talking about?
The other one's called DK Baits. It should.
DK Metcalf comes up. What the hell? Is this the right dude?
DK. I think it might be. Let me see. Go down a little bit. No, that's not it.
These almost look European, dude. Like that. This
style. The one I'm talking about, he makes like. Oh, there it is. The one underneath. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. Oh yeah, I do see some similarity in the shape and like maybe kind of the tail. I mean, it's a little different for sure.
Yeah.
But those look pretty clean. Although, is he taking the time to freaking etch all that on there? Or
yeah, they're wood. Those are wood. They're not resin.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what.
That's a lot of work, man.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about them.
How in the hell? Wow.
I think he has an etching machine, probably.
You got to, dude. I mean, that's so consistent.
Yeah, an etching machine would do that.
I mean, you can see some inconsistencies with like the face on some of these.
Might be an angle,
you would expect, but the scaling on the sides, you got to have some sort of deal to do that faster for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know jack about how to do that, but that's a cool signature he's got on it too.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And I think he's out like in Cali, and the one guy, a couple guys that are from like the swim bait underground thing, like Manny Chi, and a couple other guys were like pretty much like showing off his stuff, saying like it's a really nice stuff for being like brand new. He's new to the swim bait stuff.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting to see. And I was like, like Tim said in the comments, that it would almost look like a Hinkle trout. And it pretty much looks like a smaller version of a Hinkle trout.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just a wood version, which I thought was pretty interesting on that.
Yeah.
compared to
John and Daniel are saying, yeah, it looks like it's probably lasered, and that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely is. And this is the other bait I got. Just go back on that. Just wrap it up real quick so get a little faster. But there's a
Zero. Nice.
Yeah.
So does that thing wake?
And so what it is pretty much it's like I'll take out the package, and it's pretty much actually, which I didn't know this either, is it pretty much supposed to mimic like a bug, and I didn't know that. And it pretty much says that on the package. I can actually read it off for you. It says the Griffin Zero is a topwater bug bait based on a popular Griffin Zero series tuned by Ito, whatever. It has been a wire body and a shaft bouncer built in, water intake on the underside, which is this little tiny underside. It has like this little, let me flip it up. Hopefully it's right there on the back. This little tiny thing right here is actually has a hole that goes through the bait. And it's kind of hard.
So the bait takes on water?
So no, what it does is that little channel allows water to go through it. So what happens is you can weight this bait and stay on the surface, or if you lower your rod down and crank it, it'll go down subsurface. And by this pretty much allowing water to get in there, kind of creates like a surface water tension, and it will allow the bait to stay underwater a little bit longer than what it would if it didn't have that. It's like almost how the DRT frenzy bait, where it has that through channel.
Right.
It allows the water to pretty much almost weight the bait down. And
I haven't really thought about that since seeing the frenzy, but that's a really cool concept.
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. And I didn't know that either until I actually got it. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. It's actually like a bonus. But and then what's really weird too is that, you know, it has the hook slots to where on the side there's like little indents on the edge.
So it almost tucks.
Yeah.
It lays real flush.
It's something, I guess, that would allow that to, you know, stay there and not actually want to kick out to the side and actually get hooked. So because that if you actually kind of, damn it.
Yeah, how long until they start putting magnets in hard baits to have like a mag draft on a crankbait?
I don't know.
Why the hell don't they do that?
They actually do have that on like this damn boy ducket, damn shitty bait. And I don't even know what the hell is that, but it's like a magnet. And I think it fell or something. But it's like a swim bait, a multi-jointed swim bait, and it has like a little magnet on the bottom, and it holds the hook up to the body, and it's like weird. But it's definitely, like, I've seen it in a couple baits, but not many. And I've always said that I think that'd be pretty cool to have like on swim baits. I don't know why they haven't done that.
Right.
But then they do have that new thing that Spro came out with, which is that little.
But it's a screw lock. That's for soft plastics.
For soft plastics.
Yeah.
So maybe, but for soft plastics, you know, that maybe if you wanted to run like an inline or something, and you know, treble, you know, pinned onto the plastic without ripping it all the time.
No, that it seems like a really practical solution. I almost bought those already, and then I was looking at them, wondering like,
that is true, John.
Could I make that myself? I don't know. The iSlide has it.
Yeah, I have the trout one here. It does have that, but then you have the floating version, which doesn't have it, but it'll stay there.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Look at you, Johnny.
So that is true.
Both hook hangers do that?
What happened?
Both hook hangers do that?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. And then, like I said, on the floating version, though, it doesn't. It hangs.
Right.
I have no magnets.
Yep. I mean, that makes a little bit more sense when you consider, like, you know, what the application is.
Yeah.
That you're probably going to use the bait for. And that sinking iSlide is one that you might want to get a little bit riskier with.
Yeah. And then what I did was I just put pretty much like a Zappu board on it, and it'll add some flash on the bottom. And I think that helps a lot with these weights. I don't know why, but I think it seems like it helps a pretty good amount. Like makes them want to just hit it. And
so is that the weight or the float?
No, that's a weight.
Okay. Yeah.
Weight. So there's a 2 gram weight, and so it helps it kind of almost suspend in a way. And it definitely helps a lot on the glide. It makes it a little bit easier to glide and not have to do it so quickly to keep it under.
Right.
So
No,
it's almost like a topwater walking bait in a way.
Yeah.
But like I said, the little griffin though, it's a pretty nice little bait, and
yeah, I've definitely been looking at that bait because the standard version is a shallow diver, right?
yeah,
And
the standard one is like it goes actually pretty deep, and I have it actually here in my box. Here. This little guy.
mm.
So
Okay, so maybe that thing does run 6 or 8 feet deep.
yeah, it goes pretty deep in the bill.
Yeah, you could tell that angle is completely different, obviously. But I thought the Griffin, it's just a small body crankbait, and maybe they do make it in like 3 different. Maybe that other one is like the standard or the MR,
And then
and
they
then
do
they
have
make a shallow runner, and then that 0 is supposed to be like a 0 to a 1 foot, right? Isn't
yeah,
it
pretty
like
much.
super shallow runner?
So, and then it has those little glass beads in it, but not as much as the original. So that's the 0, and then this is the regular.
Okay, yeah, you got more beads in that thing.
Yeah, and this one is the Senior X, so it's actually I think the larger one. I think no, I think it might be the smaller one because I think
Yeah,
the
that
Senior.
thing looks little.
Yeah, it's small. The hooks are small too, but it does really good on the rocks. But I really didn't have that much success with it. Like
That seems like a multi-species bait. You know, if you've
I don't
got,
know why though. You
I
would
think
think
crappie
being
would eat that
small
thing.
would get fuck. You'd think it would definitely probably get bit a lot better since it's smaller, but it doesn't. It's weird. And this color here is like one of my confidence colors because I got crushed in that color with my swim boot, my little 135 eye slide. That color, this one here, it got demolished last year in that color, but which I think is like Kasumi Ito or.
Well, there's my daughter again. Pardon me. I'm gonna see if I can mute myself at the very least.
Yeah, you
Um,
can do that. I'll just show them more stuff. And so the other bait I got was pretty much it's actually an interesting bait, and I never actually tried one before, but it's pretty much a lipless. It's the Dorium Mola Mola, and it's a lipless bait that's silent, and it's supposed to be a worming lipless crankbait. So it's meant to be on the bottom worming the bait. And so, but what's different about it is that it has this little metal lip on it, which and it's a pretty big bait actually. It's like 3 inches, I think, 3.5 inches, 100 millimeters. So almost like the size of a jerk bait. So about 4 inches. And so, like I said, it has that little tiny metal ring on the nose. And what that does is it allows it to, when you're worming the actual lipless on the bottom, it's hitting those rocks. And that would create a similar same noise as like a one knock sound, but without having obviously a rattle inside. So it's completely silent. And then also the way that this runs in the water runs very almost like straight. They said it's almost like horizontal. So it's pretty weedless. So it should go over cover and also pretty much rocks very well and allowed to just, like I said, worm that bait through, which just pretty much sweeping the rod to the left or right, wherever you are. And so that slow reaction just hitting the rocks and at the same time making that noise on the bottom. And like I said, I never really had a bait that did that, so it was interesting. But they don't have many colors, which kind of sucked. And but this one is obviously in a color that I get a lot of fish in with my jigs, so I was like, you might as well try it in a crankbait. So, but it's yeah, it's called Obass Live. It's a weird name, but says pretty much a medium heavy rod, 16 to 25 pounds on nylon, or fluorous 14 to 20, and it weighs 3/4 of an ounce. So it's a pretty cool bait. So, and it comes with some nice Ryugi hooks. I think these are the spear. Yeah, these gotta be the spear. And then it comes with Bombada split rings, which I've never really actually looked at much, but the Bombada split rings, I've seen them on a couple different brands, and they seem to be pretty decent. So I might have to check that brand out and see. There we go. And let me just go and show something that's just terminal tag. I got some also grenade weights. They're pretty much little weights that are pretty much shaped like grenades. They're just like a quick clip weight. And that allows me to pretty much weight my swim baits. It really got them for my like K9s, and they're tungsten as well, so to allow them to be a little bit smaller. And I should have got a little bit bigger ones as well for my DRT Ghost, because I did a little sort of like, what the hell? Come on. Focus. It's not focusing. Wait till the camera focuses. There we go. And so, like I said, I was doing a little sort of like adjustment I did on my DRT to pretty much make it to where, since this bait rides like this, it ends up going and making it pretty much horizontal, so that it would allow the bait to actually move a little bit better. So these are pretty much that, where you can clip these on and then pretty much put them on instead of having to put it in a screw lock and put it into the tail. You can just clip it to the actual eyelet or split ring and then have the weight on there. So you can do that with the DRT, but
Godzilla right there.
Yeah, it's big bait. I gotta use it more.
So did you run through the rest of what you picked up from the hookup or what?
No. I was actually just showed them a bait that I had just got, which was the it's a lipless, silent lipless.
Who makes
And
that?
it's called Doryu. It's like Mola. It's called a Mola.
Okay. Yeah, no, I saw that.
Yeah, and so it's pretty much a warming lipless crank. So like I said, I was telling them that it's pretty much meant to just bounce on the rocks. And
Yeah.
there's multiple different like retrieves that they said that you can do with it. It's like it shows on the back of like a diagram.
Sure. Yeah,
So
that line tie looks a little bit weird. Show us that real quick.
yeah, the line tie, like I was telling them, it's in the top, but it's pretty much pretty far back. So it allows the bait to be almost like this.
Well, then
So
why does the nose have wire hanging off the front, dude? You
well
put a
then
weight on there?
no, the nose that's what contacts the rocks and causes that
Interesting.
one knock sound instead of having it inside the actual bait.
Got
So
it.
you'll get more of like a natural sound from the actually hitting the rocks versus actually making that
Hmm.
loud rattle sound.
That's
So
cool.
it's pretty much just hitting on the bottom, and it's meant to, like I said, worm it. And so you can go slow or fast hitting the rocks. It pretty much matters on what you want to do. But it also
Interesting.
allows the bait to be, a little bit more weedless, because it'll hit with that instead of
Yeah.
actually wanting to wedge into the rocks.
Well,
So
that's different than any sort of traditional rattle on the market. That's pretty cool.
yeah, so that's why I was like, I got to try that, because I've never seen that really.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. And so that's why I was like, you know what? Let me try that out and see if it works. So now that I know, showed you guys, I'll definitely test it out and
Dude,
let
that's
you.
part of what I love about having you on is that I swear 80 or more percent of what you show is stuff that I've either not heard of or never tried before. Just like kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, where a lot of what I use,
Yeah,
I'm trying to keep somewhat mainstream, trying to cater to stuff that a lot of people are either curious about or have tried before. But you are like left field, like super creative and off the beaten path. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's what I really try to do.
let's get off topic for 1 second. Ryan asks, how do you plan to rig the Deca MMZ?
Well, pretty much it literally tells you on the actual packaging that what you can do with it. But I would pretty much use it as a punch shot, which is with probably like a 2 or 3 and 2 or 3 hook, and just rig it that way. Or you can rig it pretty much drop shot, and like I said, it shows you literally what you can do with them.
But you'd rig it weedless with a 2 or 3/0
Yeah.
EWG style hook, or with a worm hook.
Yeah, it's a punch shot. The Zafu rig, pretty much, is what it is.
Is that offset or is that EWG?
It's a regular EWG, but
Okay.
I would probably use this one right here. It's a size 2.
Got it.
Standard RPG, and it comes with the little snap on, not snap, swivel on it, and also the little quick clip attachment. So you just pretty much can clip on your weight right away. It doesn't have to like almost like a split ring. You don't have to worry about that. And then it also comes with this little tiny swivel on the top, little barrel swivel.
Nice.
So to allow, if it goes into any type of grass or anything like that, it won't cause it to spin too much. And
I think that's super important to have with any type of Jika rig type of setup, is having the swivel.
Yeah, and then also, it just also helps on top of, after you got them pinned or land, they're not going to really be able to get that leverage to take that hook out. And I think that's a little bit of a benefit as well. So.
Nice. Do you have a preferred weight that you like to use with that punch shot?
Yeah, I'll use pretty much my, I got them here, the Delta. The riding Delta stuff. Delta sinker. It's pretty much these here. These two right here, which are I don't have them in packaging. I put them inside of a weight thing, but this is the Ryugi, I think. The teardrop weight, and then this is the Delta drop shot weight. It's not a drop shot; it's a free rig, and so, but they're pretty much, these work pretty well. Like all you just do is just clip them in.
What weight are those? Are those less than a quarter or?
This is a quarter, and this is 5 grams.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't use anything above a quarter really ever, because it's just the water's too shallow here, and if anything really used too big, the slime or this moss stuff gets all over it, and it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So, the only time maybe if I use it is if it has like a little bit thick grass or something, and I want to try and get down into it. But if I'm gonna do that, I'll just use a punching jig or something.
Yeah.
But it has a pretty hard clip on it. Like this little clip on the back, it's pretty sturdy. Like you have to actually jam it in there.
Mm-hmm.
So your weight won't definitely not come out. So, and then you pretty much have that.
Yep. Right on.
Have that worm in the back, and that, like I said, that hook is pretty small. It's not a big one, but
yeah, that looks like a 1 or 2/0.
It's a 2/0, yeah. And so, that would allow that worm to pretty much be on the back and not be too crazy. It's not going to be so far.
So. Damn, now it looks really long. Holy shit. Yeah. Wow.
And so
what is that? Is it 12 inches?
No, probably, yeah. I would say. Yeah, about 10 inches, I'd say.
Damn.
Yeah. Let me see. I got a roller right here.
There's some sort of case of the scaries in my household.
11:30.
No, my 4-year-old is in the struggle house, on the struggle bus right now. God damn, dude.
But yeah, it's 11 inches and like 11 inches and a half. But like I said, you can even put a way bigger hook than that. Actually, probably can put the 3-aught or 4-aught on. Let me see. Yeah, it actually says 3-aught to 4-aught. So let me show you guys how far that will go. But they're a pretty big worm, and actually probably drop shot would probably be the best, since they would probably be able to suck that in a lot easier and get it in their mouth without having to take a second to fully actually eat the whole worm. So my hands are gonna stink. That's still pretty short, but yeah, I'd definitely go with a 5-aught. I wouldn't use anything less, to be honest. Yeah, 3 and 4-aught is kind of like I said. 4-aught probably is going to be like the minimum, honestly, I'd use, because then you're going to be waiting a second for them to actually get the whole bait in their mouth, unless it's like a 3-pounder or something. So I'd probably use a 4-aught hook if you're going to use an EWG, and if you're going to use a drop shot hook, I'd probably use like a 1-aught or at least 2. And then also, if you're going to use a wacky, you could probably use a shrink tubing, so you can save the worm and not use it up quickly. Because if you use use the worm directly, it's going to tear right away off like one fish. So yeah, could be. I just measured it just straight without pulling it out. But it definitely probably is a little longer because it's kinked up. So and then let me go and talk about these. Then I just got also the bent minnow from the OSP, just another one. I have one for now that I've been using, but just another color. Let me just take it out.
My apologies. We've transitioned from her room to my room to now the couch right above me. So yeah, this happens. So is that OSP bent minnow? What is that?
Yeah, it's the bent minnow. But
now,
I just gotta.
Now, what do you do? Why throw that? What does it do?
Well, this pretty much has like a crazy erratic action. It's almost like a minnow, like it pretty much says, and it pretty much will allow the bait to dart back and forth, pretty much like a walking bait, but also go subsurface. So you can go down like a jerk bait and get sometimes about 2 feet if you want, if you go fast enough. And then on the pause, it will just quiver back up. And like I said, it also just really erratic. Sometimes it'll go sideways and then just come back a couple times. And It just really looks like a minnow that's kind of either dying or just fleeing really quickly. And it works really well. And around the summertime or right after the post spawn, when the fish are pretty hungry, this works pretty well. That's why I got another one. And I have another one, but it's a clear color. So it's the abalone shell one, where it has the abalone shell in the middle, but the outside is like pink. But this one here is like a solid pretty much color that has that holographic look to it. And like I said, most of the time it's a pretty nice bait, and you pretty much have it on a snap. You can use either the snap, or regular, just put like a split ring on it. But I like it with the snap since it allows you to just pretty much switch it in and out if you want. And like I said, it's a pretty good bait, but it's not if you can pretty much do whatever you want with it.
It's always one that, has intrigued me in a way of just curiosity, but not like interest in using it. But of course, you're not even like a salesman, but there's something about the way that you explain it and the action to it, like seeing the way that it is in that the hook is on the belly, and theoretically it would come in like this and not swim sideways, but you're saying it has a really erratic swimming action that will go off.
Yeah, it'll go sideways, back, and sometimes it'll go shorter and like really all over the place. It's really like hard to predict where it's gonna go, but when it just goes around or back and forth, it looks really good. And like I said, it gets bit. Like I've had where I would get bit and then all of a sudden get bit again and lose it, get bit again, and then have that sort of action where I was getting that many bites back to back on them.
Sure.
But sometimes it wouldn't stick. It was like a jerk bait where like if you didn't get it on time, you would miss them. It was like they spat it out. And so that's why it's somewhat like a versatile bait where it could be a top water where you work it kind of slow, and like I said, it will kind of just go back and forth, or you work it really erratic and it'll start going subsurface and become like almost like a high buoyancy jerk bait.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what's kind of cool about it. And then also, like you said, it gets that side profile from underneath, and it kind of looks like a dying minnow from underneath.
Yeah, so, for sure.
You're looking at it like that, pretend that's looking up. That's what they'll be seeing, and they're seeing that that going back and forth, and it's like sort of like the fish is just dying. So I think that also has to do with it, and it does definitely work. But like I said, it's pretty much just off, like I said, my experience, and it worked for me. It may not work for you. You know what I mean? So,
Tim was saying that you shouldn't be talking about that bait, as well as a couple other ones that he mentioned a bait or two that he said he shouldn't have mentioned, but that he feels relatively safe in this somewhat small group. So if you're one of the 16 people in here and you want to know about some wild baits that are very successful, just either listen to what Matt's saying or go up and read what Tim has mentioned. I'm not going to read the name of that bait, that lipless that he mentioned, but I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, and then this here, these are actually pretty cool. I've never seen these before, but they're new, and it's from this company called YG Labo, and they're like, it's supposed to be like a better version of the Jackal. What's that damn?
Show me the bait.
What is that bait? The one? No, you're not gonna know what the Jackal is because you're not gonna realize it. But what is that bait the Jackal makes that has the net mesh in the middle?
Yeah, it's the bounty fish.
Yeah, the bounty fish. So pretty much it's supposed to be like a better, more tougher version of the bounty fish, but it's also different in its a completely different way. But let me, I'll show this one. It's a little bit better to see. But
right,
these here, and
there's no mesh.
Yeah, there's no mesh in it, but what it is that it's hand poured, and so it's a little bit more tougher plastic. And if you look up the video on these, the swim video, it's pretty sick. And then they have, I'll take it out.
Oh, you gotta rip it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're generous.
Let's see.
I do need to fish this soon. Once post spawn top water starts hitting, I'm gonna use these. I don't know exactly how they're gonna go.
So, all right. So these here. Oh wait, still didn't get that out. So, like I was saying, there, and then I have like another color as well, but this is a different color.
Nice.
It has like a bone bottom.
I feel like that bait style is somewhat common in Japan.
And here it's pretty. They say it's like an eye bait, really, the tail, but
Shit,
it's
that's thick.
and it's very soft. Like, I mean, this tail, dude, it moves so well. And I thought, because it had like a little bend in the one of the packaging when I had gotten it, I was like, oh shit, the tail's gonna be all messed up. But then when I actually started like messing with it on the back and like fixed it straight, and it got like unstuck from the back of the packaging, because like the back of the packaging has like this thin plastic card. It's kind of like it's in there. It's like a plastic card to keep them straight. So, but what happened was I thought it was like that, and I was like, oh man, it's gonna be all kinked up. But then when I let go, it just ended up going back straight. And I was
Interesting.
like, that's pretty interesting. And I was like, huh. So, but like you said, it is very thick, and so it's a lot more durable, and it's pretty hard plastic. It's not,
So do you rig that flat side down or up?
Flat side down, and then these little tiny like brakes are pretty much like a popper. It'll spurt a little bit of water out as you're walking it, because it walks pretty nice. And then you can slow retrieve it very, very slow. But on the twitch, it pretty much will swim and then like kind of like flee away. And but they're a very interesting bait. And like I said, it has like a little hook channel on the top as well. That's there. But like I said, it's a lot more tougher and has a little bit interesting of a swim to them.
But that channel on the top is pretty close to the nose, right?
Yeah, it's actually not far back. It's on the first segment.
So it almost makes me wonder if what John was just saying, if there's any truth to it. That, like, you should throw that on like a 1 or 2/0 drop shot hook.
Yeah, but it floats.
Nose hook it.
It floats, so maybe it would work. But
I mean, you could still nose hook it and fish it like a fluke or something, right?
Yeah, well, that's what it's really intended to. It's pretty much a floating topwater bait. So it's actually like a very dense, like floating plastic, and it stays on top of the water, sort of like the bounty fish does. And it will you can walk it, and then also do a couple different things with it. And that also, these little tiny fins act as brakes, so it won't move far in the water,
right?
But a good amount of action to where it obviously will entice some fish to bite, but as well as move back and forth, because like I said, it has a pretty good wide range of movement. And then these actual side parts, when it goes, it'll just twitch, and it almost looks, like I said, like a little minnow.
Right.
And it's actually looks very good. You got to see the swim video on it. It's very interesting. You would not think how basic it looks, it would actually have that action. But
so what's that one called again?
This one's called the Witch Lana 6. This is the 6-inch one.
Witch Lana? YG Labo? What in the?
Yep. The Witch series.
Lana. Okay.
And then it pretty much says that it recommends 44-pound PE if you're using braid, or 14 to 20-pound nylon, and then 16 to 20-pound fluoro.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that makes sense. It's a bulky bait, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, and like I said, it's different, and the colors, I really didn't see that much, and they pretty look unique color-wise. And then this one is like has like a gray swirl to it with like some green in it.
Yeah.
And then on the bottom, it's like a tan sand color.
Right.
Black speck in it.
Yeah.
And they don't have any scent to them either, so interesting. Maybe to keep them from being, soft.
Right.
So they don't, break apart so easily.
Right. Yeah, that bounty fish, on the other hand, is super scented, but I've also heard that its durability is not great.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing.
So we'll have to put that to the test. But
some people say, it's decent. Like, it's not too bad. Like, you're gonna get, a decent amount of fish. And if you're
I think if you at least get a handful of fish out of each one of these, it's fine, because you get 4 in a pack, and
if you can at least get like 3 or 4 at least, that'd be decent.
Yeah. And this takes a
You can maybe
big hook, like in a different type of design. You can see that in the bottom, this is where you come out when you're gonna Texas rig it. The nose is long so that it's supposed to actually bury the line tie, but then the hook slot on the top is really far back on this thing,
yeah.
right? Like
It could take like a giant.
smallest hook would be like 5/0.
Yeah.
You could fit an 8/0 hook in this thing, no problem. Look at how far back that is. I mean, I'm
Almost
talking.
reminds me of like the Sacamon.
That's 3+ inches.
Yeah, it is far.
So this thing apparently is supposed to take a really big hook, but
And I probably the bigger the hook, the better probably it will work because it will have more weight on that front segment.
right,
Just kind of like walk a little bit easier and stay more centered.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because the Sacamata shads, they have that same sort of thing where like the 8-inch ones, man, it literally can take like an 11-aught worm hook, and
Which are hardly made. Yeah.
Yeah, and literally it's weird, and it's literally you can also put like a 10-aught beast hook on it, and it would still probably have like another half-inch of room.
Right.
And it's like, and then it also has like those little dots on the top of the bait, and it goes like almost all the way back, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, how far do they think you can bring it back? But it definitely, if you put a hook back there, I've tried it, and it has the same sort of action. It's weird. But you would think it couldn't fit that, but it definitely can.
Yeah.
But these are the last thing I got pretty much from the hookup, and these are what I really wanted to talk about a little bit. But this was the Horizon hooks that are from Horizon Head, but
right, the hover strolling. I totally forgot that you wanted to talk about the hover strolling technique tonight.
And so this is that pretty much that hook that came out from Gamakatsu, and
right. So can you pull one of those out and show it to us? Because my understanding of the hover strolling technique is that really it's supposed to have like a jig hook where it's got that raised eye. I want to see what that hook actually looks like.
And John, the one in the chat actually had talked about there's this new hook that pretty much Veribos, I think it's the one who makes them, but they pretty much came out with like this new ball head swim bait head, and it pretty much goes from like 1/0 to like 5/0 hook size, but also stay in that light range of like an 1/8 ounce or like a 3/8, less than a quarter, 5 grams, stuff like that, 3/16, and it's pretty nice hook. And I was like, damn, I gotta try those. And it's a nice little ball head. And I was like, that would probably be really good for my DRT baits, or the Sakamata shads, where you can rig a ball head on them and it makes it do this specific type of action that I was talking about with the DRT VTS baits. It kind of does this like on an axle, it'll just kind of go back and forth, and it ends up making this pretty unique action that I don't see much. And I think that'd be pretty cool to try. But that's the exact same thing you'll get with this, but on a lighter scale. And really, the reason why I was really looking forward to something like this, and also those ball heads that he was talking about, would actually work really good on this bait that I'm about to show, which are these frill shads.
Yep.
So this really was the bait that I really wanted to get these hooks for, and also my VTS 5s that I have, and which you can do the same sort of thing as well with those, and just on a smaller scale. But these hooks here, this goes pretty far back into the bait, and the weight actually will go into the actual bait a little bit, and the hook is at like a 90-degree angle. So once it goes off, it'll probably be right about like right there. Let me take my
So is there a weight on that hook or no?
Yeah, it's very light.
Fascinating, because I mean that's a smart idea, because my understanding was with hover strolling, you use a hook that's designed like that, but typically they don't come with a weight on them. Usually you'd have to use a nail weight and cut it way down so that it's like
Or use those microscopic ones that they
a
make.
32nd or a 64th of an ounce, just barely enough to keep the bait down. But the point is, you use a minnow style bait that will allow it to run horizontal through the water, and it's just kind of a dead action type of swim.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That hook comes with a little bit of weight on it, huh?
Yeah, it has like I think it's, let me see how heavy. 0.35 grams.
Yeah, got it. So are
So
you still going to rig it that way where you're threading it in there, and
I'm doing it
how
right
much
now.
is the bait going to tear when you shove, or is the weight doesn't add all that much girth to the hook itself? Are you going to need to seal it back up after you thread it through there or no?
I don't think so. Let me see. It's kind of a little bit difficult to thread it through.
Not even the couch is working. You got to be kidding me.
Is there like stomach hurting or something?
I mean, she had a little bit of a runny nose before bed, but she's like legit scared. There's got to be some sort of.
Ah,
I'm like, I don't know what you're seeing. We've got lights on and everything, It's like,
yeah.
but
You know how,
it happens to kids, right? I mean, you see shit, you start making things
yeah,
up in your
brain
head.
definitely mess with you, man.
Yeah,
Especially when you're little. But literally, it pretty much will go like this, and
no shit.
that little ball head will sit in the front, and so there you go. So that little ball, and then the rest of the weight goes into the actual plastic.
Yeah,
And since it's so small, it really, that weight is very, very minute. It's not very big, so it really doesn't split the plastic like that. And it's pretty good. And then what happens when those fish bite? They'll just bite that down, and then
right.
you set the hook. Boom, you get them.
So how much of the frill? I mean, that's an interesting rigging on the frill chat. So, it almost seems like that upper lip provides two things, right? Like a scrounger type of action, but then
Yeah,
also a little bit of like a weed guard, right?
yeah. In a way, it's like a weed guard in a way, but it's more or less to be like it quivers the bait, and it's meant to
It's
be
gonna
like a
make it have that
almost like a crankbait in a way, but
that
without.
roll.
And it'll just go back and forth and roll. And also, if you want, if you go like this very lightly and twitch, it'll cause the bait to go like this.
Hmm.
And so, and that I think is really the best one. That's what I was talking about on the DRTs, that it'll just pretty much cause the bait to go like this and almost like darting back and forth. But it makes the bait almost stay in place at the same time because it's moving very shortly, because you're pretty much moving the bait by just twitching it, and then you just
Right.
very slowly. And then that's what allows the bait to pretty much hover it over on the like first foot of the column of the water. And so you're hovering that bait over the fish's face, and pretty much going over them or wherever they're at. Pretty much you could use this on like a bed or spawning fish, and just have that hovering over them slowly, and almost
Right.
give a trigger reaction, because every time you let go of that bait, it's going to fall back down a little bit and then want to come back up as you twitching it. So it pretty much creates like a reaction bite in a way, but
Yep.
with a soft plastic. So it's like a fluke, but I think you can work it a little bit slower and pretty much allow that bait to just really crawl and just kind of move really slowly. And since the plastic is very thin at the end, it pretty much, has very little quivering. So it just moves like crazy.
I like it.
But it didn't seem too bad to rig. John. Yeah, back in the day, I did not like scary movies either. I couldn't watch that whole night. I'd be thinking like something's in my damn closet. Pretty much, Tim. It's like a finesse, yeah, like a scrounger. It's a pretty cool bait. I have not really used them that much because I've really been trying to get the right hook for them, and finally kind of found the right hook. And and hopefully maybe I can try those ball heads too, because that'd probably be pretty cool to try. I'll just see if it goes back in rigged. But and they're definitely, like I said, they are expensive. They're not cheap, but they're definitely like a specific type of rigging option. So you're not going to be fishing this like all the time. It's more or less for specific situations or scenarios that you want to use that. So probably like in a high pressured spot or pretty clear water where you don't want any sort of like secondary, look on it to where it looks like a jig or anything like that. You just want it to look like a minnow or a bait fish. So did anybody go fishing this weekend? I was gonna go today, but it ended up raining for no reason. When it said it wasn't gonna rain, so I didn't go. Hopefully tomorrow it won't rain. Nice, good. What was your best bait that you caught the fish on? Or what caught you your biggest fish? This is the bait I caught that snakehead off of. On that picture I posted on my Instagram, you can see the hook bent a little. Got the old school bronze hooks on. You can see that back hook bent completely. It's a pretty good little crank though. It's really a slow float. It floats up super slow for being as small as it is. And you can't go too quickly on them, or they just like want to go out. But if you stay at a good pace, almost like the wiggle warts, but if you stay at a good pace and crank it at a medium speed, they definitely go down pretty nice. And they're pretty good on rocks. Actually, that's where I caught the snakehead. It was right near current. It was pretty good. I gotta try the bigger versions out. Nice. Yeah, I gotta go for some smallmouth. I have not tried catching smallmouth at all. I have never actually caught one. I gotta at least try it once. Go to at least somewhere near me that has them. And I am gonna try and test out more of this bait. I'm gonna try and use it tomorrow. Hopefully, if I can go. and to crank that same spot where the rocks are, even though it has a circuit board lip and it's not the best for rocks. I'm going to not try and grind it down. I'm going to more or less go super slow and let it just bump the bottom where it's just hitting the bottom and just going boom, boom, and swimming very slow. So I'm going to try that and see if that works. Because this thing, it works pretty nice. It swims well and it has a great paint job. And then I also put a ton of floating board on it so that it would float up quick. So it'd be a little bit more shallower, go a little bit shallower, but it's not as buoyant as I thought. Nice, Guggen Slayer. Yeah, last year I caught a lot more bigger fish last year than this year. This year's been really off for me. It's like been all over, but I've been getting decent sized fish recently, but overall, usually last year I was catching a lot of the bigger fish like right off in the beginning of like March and the end of April, but it's been really weird. And then also I did test this out too, the man's I think it's the thin man. And so this pretty much is like it's pretty nice crank but paint job wise, but when I was testing it out it ran like shit. I'm not gonna lie. It's painted by TK and everything, but I don't know if it was I might have to adjust the eyelet, but it was running terrible. It was like spinning in circles. It was bad. So it might just be like a collector's item or something, but kind of sucked. This here, talking about Tom, this is, oh my god, this is the Clickbait Custom. This is a V3, the Fathom V3. Here's a V2, which is just a 2-piece, and then a 3-piece version. I think the 3-piece has more like a fluent motion. The 2-piece has more like obviously that segmented 2-piece kind of swim to it where it's a little bit more wider. This one is more in line with itself, so kind of just goes down into the rocks pretty well. But that's what he designed it for, was going near brush and cover. So it's a pretty cool bait.
she puked.
What I tell you, what I say, her stomach was messed up.
I still don't know if that's the case, dude. She was screaming like she's scared. So I thought she was calming down. By the time I got up and walked away, she was like at the top of her lungs, and so she couldn't breathe very well. And then she ended up puking on the couch, and I'm just like, oh, we talked about this. It's just like we had like hot dogs and sweet potato fries for dinner. It was just pure orange all over the couch. We've got like a light like pan.
Oh no.
I'm like, oh no. So now she's sleeping on the floor of my room. She's got a trash can. Her jammies are off. It's a shit show in my house. Here's the deal. We've been on for 2 hours and 9 minutes.
Yeah,
and Matt has held down the stream incredibly well. My wife is working for 4 nights in a row starting tonight. So we're going to do multiple streams. And if Matt is willing, I'd like to continue this conversation, perhaps talk more about hover strolling, maybe about other JDM baits, what have you, because I think it's fun that the conversation went in this route.
We can talk about next time, some post spawn swim baits, or spawn swim baits and stuff like that.
And we had Tim and John and other guys contributing a lot in tonight's chat, and I super appreciate that. Ooh, what is that? Little terminal box of tackle?
No, ain't no tackle in there.
Oh shit, my man.
But it's just I'm going to talk about small swim baits and that stuff. That's a pretty good topic, I think, that not many people talk about.
Small swim baits?
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, yeah. So let's definitely plan on doing that, making it a topic of conversation for one of the next couple nights, whichever suits you best. Works for me. I'm available the next 3 nights in a row. So let's talk about that and just plan on being on again in the next couple of nights. So guys, keep your eyes peeled and look out for notifications. I will try to post a scheduling of the video a little bit ahead of time, at least a few hours ahead of time. And we'll just plan to pick up this conversation where we left off and talk about more JDM stuff and swim baits. Maybe not all JDM, because I know that a lot of Matt's swim baits come from like small tackle makers that are here in the U.S. Some of them are kind of the opposite, more from, say, Ayuma, for example, who is an offshoot of a big name, maybe not a large producer, but a big name JDM company coming from Roman made. So we will, we'll pick up the conversation, talk about swim baits. But I just have a feeling that poor little Sadie's going to have more issues. And so let's cut it there. Thank you very much for
no problem
the sympathy and for the help in holding down the chat tonight. So, I appreciate you being on. If somehow you guys are in here right now, or you're watching on the replay all the way through this 2 hours and 12 minutes, go over and show some love on Matt's channel. It's South Jersey Fisherman 028 on YouTube, and give him a subscription. Help grow his channel, because he's going to start doing a little bit more there. I will probably join on his channel at some point. And I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Matt. And you guys have a great rest of your Saturday night. Enjoy your Sunday. Maybe we'll see you again tomorrow night.
Maybe.
If not, definitely one of the next few nights. So appreciate you guys. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
All right, guys. See you.